See, if you transcend your physical nature, there is no such thing as time. There is… in India, in this culture, we have a word called Trikalagnani. That means one who knows past, present and future. This does not mean he's time traveling. That is what these Hollywood movies, which misunderstand everything logically and literally. So why I'm saying this is, they're always trying to understand everything factually, literally. When we said there is a Trikalagnani, they said, oh, there is somebody who goes into past, present and future. See, this moment is eternity, I want you to know. It's question of, are you living in the surface or do you have a profound experience of what's now? What you think is past, what you think is future or what you think is now is all one happening. They are not three different happenings. They are not three different dimensions or three different geographical spaces that you can go into and come back. When you use the word travel, it suggests movement, isn't it? I travel from point A to point B. I can't travel from point A to point A, point A to point A, point A to point A. I cannot travel unless I'm making rounds. So right now, when you say past, present and future, you're talking about triple A. Understand? It's AAA, it's not ABC. When we say time, in the yogic perception, which ultimately modern physics will come to someday, hopefully, is time is the basic aspect of creation. Because of time, there is gravity. Because of gravity, everything else. Right now, the problem with modern physics is they have reasonably understood the other forces, they're unable to understand what's gravity. Gravity is a consequence of time. It's not the other way round. Because there is time, there is gravity. The word time itself may not conjure that image in your mind. The Sanskrit word is correct, it's kala. Kala means two things, time and emptiness. Kali, not talking about the Devi. Kali means what? Empty. Kala means darkness, kala means time, and it also means emptiness. If you try to speak with little more personified context, we will call this Shiva. So we are talking about time and emptiness, time and nothingness as the same thing. Because there is time, there is creation. Because what we call as creation exists, there is gravity, because to maintain the integrity of a little bit of physicality in this vast kala, you need some force to hold it together. So, gravity is only when time bends in a certain way. Time which is nothingness, time which is emptiness, takes a curve. When it takes a curve, physical dimension begins. If it doesn't take a curve, physical does not exist. So when we say spiritual process, you're trying to get out of the curve, because whatever curves ultimately will go in circles, isn't it? So because you experience time as a consequence of the curve that it took, you're understanding time as the spin of the planet, as the rotation of the moon and the sun and whatever else. But when we refer to kala, we are talking about time in a more fundamental way, that it is emptiness. It is nothingness. It is clear space is time. We are always… the modern concept is talking about time and space as two different things. We are talking about time and space as one thing. The existential is gravity. The non-existential presence that is there is Kala or Kali or emptiness or time or whatever you want to call it, or darkness. All these things symbolize the same thing. So if somebody travels in time, he's lost his mind. Really. I know books are written about it. Don't ever believe. Please, I want you to understand. You throw up a new concept. Let's say a scientific community throws up a new concept or philosophically some new concept comes. Instantly, there will be 100 authors in America. First 80 will come from America, next 10 will come from India maybe these days. They will write books about how they experience this concept which may not even exist. Powerful books will be written. And one generation will grow up on that and it will die. Next generation has not even heard about what the books that were popular in 70s and 80s, this generation has not even heard about those things which shaped those people's psyche completely. So this time travel business, this near-death stuff that's going on, these are popular subjects right now. I would advise you write a book. You'll sell well, make money, it's all right. If it's your survival, write something. But if you're seeking, don't bullshit yourself into something and you'll get lost. Don't do time travel, because you cannot do time travel. Time as you know it only exists because of your physical nature. If you really want to know the profoundness of time, if you want to know the Kala, which holds everything together, which holds everything in its lap, you must distance yourself from your physical nature. Then you know Kala, not as three, but three A's superimposed on each other, not A, B, C. So then you will not try to travel, you will dimensional shifts within yourself, not psychological understanding of time. What happened yesterday is one time, what's happening now is another time, what may happen tomorrow is another time, not in that context. They are not three separate things. Actually, what happened yesterday, if you sit here and imagine all that, it'll all happen now, isn't it? Yes? What may happen tomorrow, if you sit here and if you have powerful enough imagination, it'll happen right now. This is why people are suffering something that happened 10 years ago and something that may happen day after tomorrow. Yes, they're enjoying and suffering things which don't exist. So, if you try to do time travel, you will lose your mind and think you're experiencing something. Psychological drama that you create in the form of thought and emotion is not life. It is a badly directed movie.
In modern healthcare, as we look at how the way we've been delivering healthcare has not worked because it's treating the body just as the body. We see now with all this recognition that we are more than the physical body and that our mind and our emotions and our spirit have an impact on our health and well-being. And that scientific data is beginning to change the way we look at healthcare provision. I mean, right now in the States, 75% of our healthcare costs are because of preventable chronic diseases, many of which have to do with stress. You know, stress and burnout have been described as the disease of civilization.
I must tell you this. The first time I landed in the United States, wherever I went, people were talking about stress management. I couldn't understand this. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us, our family, our property, our business. Why would anybody want to manage stress? It took me some time to understand that a whole lot of people have concluded that stress is a part of their life. Stress is not a part of your life or work or anything. Stress is just your inability to manage your own body, your mind, your emotions and your life energies. You do not know how to keep your body, mind and emotions, you will be stressed. Stress means the inner dimensions of who you are is under friction. There is sufficient friction in the world. Every day if you have to walk through this world, there's a whole lot of challenges and friction. That is there. But once the friction happens within this machine, within this mechanism, if there is friction, then you become completely debilitating. It becomes completely debilitating, which is something most human beings are experiencing today. It's like you're trying to run your car without the oil in it. In 10 minutes, everything is stressful, everything makes ugly noises within. Right now, people are going through this and it's causing a whole lot of psychosomatic diseases that people are suffering. I would say 70% of the ailments that human beings are suffering are self-created. About 30% happen to you from outside because of other organisms and infections and various other things. Maybe some of them are, by birth people have certain tendencies, but at least 70% is self-created, which can be easily reversed if only we attend to the individual human being. And I can prove this with hundreds and thousands of cases who have walked out of ailments, not treated, walked out of it, simply because a certain level of stress-free existence came. Right now, I've had my lunch and I'm speaking. If I check my pulse, it's somewhere between 55 to 60. If I was an empty stomach and if I sit here quietly for 5 minutes, this will settle below 40. So there is no question of stress in this one. So when there is no stress, how much maintenance it needs will considerably go down. Right now, we have studies to show you this. A simple 15-minute meditative process, your metabolism drops up to 24% in a conscious state. There is sufficient studies to show that human mechanism can be brought to a more easy way of functioning. It is not in a hyper state of functioning. Right now, anything they have to do, they have to pump themselves like this and do it. No, you can propel yourself very gently. You can propel yourself, when I say gently, not necessarily behind somebody, not necessarily at a lower level of performance. Human mechanism can be made to function at different levels. If you're in a certain state of tranquility within yourself, right now I'm made like this, if I close my eyes, world just vanishes for me, it doesn't even exist for me. So, how you keep the system is important. Now we're talking about this being a World Peace Day. If peace has to happen, human being should know it within himself. Whatever we are seeing as human societies is just a manifestation of what's happening in individual minds. When individual minds are in such a turmoil, how do you bring peace to the world? It's going to be just empty talk.